What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Monday. It's Monday. It's Monday at 3:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I wanted to come on today and I wanted to discuss something that I felt was actually kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't call it worrisome, but there's something that seems to be brewing in the scientific community that I'm going to get to here in a little bit in this video. I wanted to kind of discuss Bitcoin's price action a little bit. Not forecasting necessarily anything specific, but looking at where we've been going and establishing this kind of small trend. This is a 1 hour chart. You know, I've been extensively using Market Cipher recently, and I'm absolutely loving the indicator. And you know, look, Crypto Face, he paid me a Bitcoin to do two basically kind of tutorial-like interviews with him. Everything else that I do, he's not paying me anything for, okay? Just so you guys know. I just genuinely like the indicator, which is one of the reasons why I agreed to start doing some promotion videos with him anyway. And I was going through and I was trying to figure out, because there are a lot of people that talk about, you know, why would you use this? There are free alternatives, right? And I started looking at a lot of these free alternatives. And what I've realized is, number one, so I use TradingView. And you can only use so many indicators on a chart based off of what kind of TradingView account you have. You know, to get the most power, I think you can use up to 20 indicators on a pro, like the biggest account they have, which is like $60 a month. And to get all of the different indicators that make up Market Cipher, I mean, there are like 50 different indicators in this thing. Okay. So at least that's what Crypto Face told me. I know there are quite a few, likely at least more than 10. But ultimately you can use Market Cipher on a free TradingView account. So that right there is like $60 a month in savings. Now, the way I have mine set up with the triple panes, you have to have a Pro Plus account to do that. So if you have Market Cipher, and you know, this is what I have discovered for me personally to be much more clear in terms of what I'm seeing and being able to gauge what's happening at a glance. Now, if you've been using Market Cipher for a long time, obviously you're probably trained, you know, combining Market Cipher B into, you know, just having it all in one. You can see it all there, but I like things very clear. But anyway, looking at this, I actually traded this as a short because I saw these trigger waves. You had one large one in front of a smaller one, which basically says that, you know, the momentum is dying, you know, on in the upswell volume, the positive volume, and the price is going to continue going down, and it did. And from here, you got a red trigger dot, which basically said this is going down further, and it did. It went down further. It went down all the way down here, wicked at 94.56 from an upper wick of about 9,900, 98.90. And I'm learning that when I'm using this, you know, that's what I look for. I look for one big one and then a smaller one. And then this one it started to change and it came right back down. And so, but if you look, the patterns are the same. And this is like something that I'm looking for at a quick glance. I'm looking for these, you know, larger waves, and I'm looking for momentum in one particular direction, up or down. And I'm not just playing these, you know, red dots, green dots, okay? Because especially like this is on an hour chart. Now, if we go to like a 15-minute, you know, you can see that things are much different. Now, what I have been doing is, and I am working on a very extensive video, okay? I'm working on a very extensive video about you know, how I'm personally utilizing Market Cipher as well as leverage trading, leverage versus spot trading. I honestly want this to be the most extensive, informative, and educational video I could possibly come up with. It's going to, and probably be very long. It's going to be time coded. I don't even know how long it's going to take me to get everything together because I'm going to be shooting it scene by scene by scene. And it's something that I want. I'm hoping really helps people. And in order to make sure I'm getting all the little nuances and little tips and tricks and different things associated with it, I am learning so much. I want this to be very helpful because I've gone through other like leverage trading tutorials, and the majority of what I see are basically just promotionals. I mean, they're not really teaching anybody anything other than the basics, and that's just not that helpful to people. I really want to go in deep. I mean, it's probably going to end up becoming an ongoing series where I'm going into various trading setups and various pattern exploration, where you're discovering patterns and what those patterns mean in a bull or bearish market and what the potential outcomes may be. I'm going to be getting very, very specific mathematically, which means I'm not going to be able to work on a lot of this stuff at 3 or 4 a.m. like I normally do, because I tend to make a lot of stupid little mistakes in my math when I'm half a zombie. So this is something that I'm definitely taking very seriously. I am going to be using a particular leverage trading platform, and I am likely going to become an affiliate. I mean, just to let everybody know, I will say that when these videos start happening, they are not really targeting US people. I will also say that if you ever attempt to trade at 100x leverage on any platform at all, you're just a fool, soon parted from your money. Don't ever do it. I personally will not touch anything over a 10x trade. And even at that, I am basically trading I'm making $10 10x trades up to $100 10x trades or $100 5x trades. And I'm doing that specifically, A, because the risk is much lower. B, I'm learning various ways of risk management, different methods for risk management. And ultimately, I'm exploring. And so, and when I'm trying to learn a new indicator, and I'm learning these indications and these signals in a new platform, you know, this is a time thing. This isn't something that any video is going to show you how to be a rock star overnight. I am never going to be a rock star at this. I will tell you right now. I am not anybody that you will want to watch and then start trading off of what I'm saying, because I'm not that good. I'm learning. My aim is to share what I'm learning as I'm learning it, while I'm consistently, day after day, night after night, continuing to make trades, continuing to learn, and put together a tutorial on the things that I'm learning have been helpful to me, and that's it. So I want to make sure that it's very, very apparent. So moving forward, I want to take a quick look at the market. These are some of the biggest earners. Electroneum. I have not seen or heard Electroneum in so long. 171% on the upside over the past 7 days, up almost 15% in the last 24 hours. Green. Very, very nice. Unibright looks to be doing pretty well, 93.76%. I touched on Unibright before. It was one of the more promising projects that I was looking at recently. And this is funny because I've been preaching this for 2 years now, that there are going to be a lot of projects that people had invested in, at ICO or in early stages of development. And there are going to be some of those projects that just flat out died. There are going to be some of those projects that mismanaged their funds. They didn't know how to handle the bear market. They didn't know what they were going to do. A lot of these projects got funded initially during ICOs, and those projects, they were doing trade shows and conventions and just pumping a lot of money into building awareness about what they were doing, not really fully understanding the market cycles. And a lot of them burned through a lot of capital. And while they're spending capital, they're watching it be diminished by the market turning. And it caught a lot of these companies by surprise. However, there are also a lot more projects, in my opinion, from what I've been seeing, that have been keeping their head down to the keyboard working and are likely to make some pretty significant comebacks. And, I've seen a few times in comments on my channel, is OMG dead? It's up almost 53% over the last 7 days. Now, it's almost back to $1. Look, a lot of these projects that we all think are dead, or that are building a name for basically being quote unquote shit coins because they haven't been overly loud during this bear market. I just don't necessarily think that that's going to be the case. I think that these guys have been biding their time. Just like you had seen in my interview with Joe Rowitz of Dragon Chain. Look, who do you tell? Who do you promote to? Who are you releasing press releases for when search engine volume is way, way down in crypto, way down in Bitcoin? Who are you telling, right? So now that things are starting to turn around a bit, Bitcoin's been making some steady headway up. The altcoin market has been getting a little bit of accumulation. I expect to see things do well. I mean, once we see another $20,000 Bitcoin, I do expect to see the altcoin market to really start popping. And I've been kind of keeping track of the different coins and, Quant token. I mean, come on, up 30%. Seal, I remember I got this forever ago, up 36%. Nano and Seal, I don't, are they holding hands during this race? I'm not sure what's happening. Theta up 30. I loved Theta. I remember going through their ICO and really digging what they were doing. See Cardano at up 17%. Who's in last place right now out of these 100 positions? I'm curious. There's Maker. I mean, a lot of this stuff is doing well. Hex. Hex is down 15.6% over the last 7 days. It's at 0.004 cents. I am so tired of seeing people pumping Hex all over the place. When you have to pump something that much, because that the coin's sole value is, in my opinion, based on the social sentiment that can be established through people spamming everything they can. That's just something that's just waiting for exhaustion. And once it finds exhaustion, once people start finding better places to put their money, I can see that house of cards not standing very straight for very long. That's just my own personal humble opinion, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of Hex hate, but that's just how I see it. It just looks very flimsy to me, and it is what it is. That's just my opinion. I see this all the way at the bottom, and I'm just kind of like, wow. But people are still going to be pumping it all over Twitter, all over my comments, the comments of a million other videos, and everywhere they possibly can to try and build more interest, to get more people in. But good luck is about all I can really say there, folks. To each their own. And you know what? Let me say this too, because here's the thing. There are some crypto projects that I look at as fun. There are some crypto projects that could become big outliers in the future. Projects that are a fraction of a penny that could very well come back, hit some home runs, build some great partnerships, build some solid hype, and really start to take off in the bull market. Anything could happen at this point. Some of the biggest, most promising projects that we know and love could fall through the floor, while others that we completely overlook and think will amount to nothing, or we've already written off as crap coins, could shoot to the moon. You just never know. We're still so early in the space, but that's a part of what makes it exciting, if not stressful. Now, this is the big topic for this video today. And I normally go through and I'm talking about a lot of different, how far are we? We're 14 minutes in. Definitely going to time code this on the front line because I definitely rambled a bit. But this is one of these things that it creeps up a little bit. Quantum computing has been, labeled as the potential death knell for Bitcoin, and potentially other cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology as well. While Bitcoin's relying on a SHA-256 algorithm, the fact is quantum computers and the very idea of quantum computers are such that, and I'm not going to get deep into it, I'm going to be reading a lot from this article, but basically the quantum nature of decryption means that it could potentially hack or thwart the encryption system. And ultimately, you would be able to create private keys in reverse to having a public address, okay? Now, that's scary, right? And ultimately, if this were the case and this were to happen, anytime soon. It would completely kill Bitcoin. However, there's a lot of different variables to this. Now, in brief, this is just a synopsis of the whole article. A 4,000 qubit quantum computer could theoretically crack Bitcoin's encryption in a matter of seconds. The current generation of quantum computers max out at 54 qubits. A quantum computer capable of cracking Bitcoin's encryption could be just 2 years away. That's scary. That's very scary. But this video is not meant to scare you. So overall, what they're basically saying is that the technology is growing so quickly. I mean, at one point we thought we wouldn't have quantum computing capable of cracking Bitcoin's encryption for 20 years. Then it became 10 years. Now suddenly it's becoming 10 or 2 years, okay? Which is very scary. But so I'm going to read through this. If you had a powerful enough computer, you could theoretically take control of the Bitcoin blockchain. You could credit your account with free Bitcoin or prevent others from making transactions. Since the private key to each wallet can be derived from a public key, you could also access the Bitcoin wallet of whomever you wished. The keys to the $163 billion castle would be yours. Of course, in that scenario, Bitcoin's price would surely plummet as soon as its claims of invulnerability were found to be baseless. Whereas even the most powerful supercomputer could take thousands of years to crack Bitcoin, there are machines that could, theoretically, do so in a matter of seconds. These ultra-fast devices are called quantum computers, and they're real, currently in development by some of the finest minds on the planet. Some experts told Decrypt that it's already too late for Bitcoin. Quantum computers, developed in secrecy by governments, could corrupt the blockchain in just a few years' time. This is also assuming that Bitcoin were to stay as it is currently. But others, including some developers of quantum computers, say that the anxiety is far-fetched and distant. By the time quantum computers become reliable and powerful enough to attack Bitcoin, blockchain developers will have already patched this vulnerability, which I believe to be the case as well. I actually just went into Charles Hopkinson's live AMA yesterday, where he was discussing a whole bunch of different stuff as usual. And this is probably the third or fourth time I've asked him the question in chat, and he finally answered it. Can you explain Cardano's quantum security, right? And he basically openly said that currently Cardano's not quantum secure. It's not quantum resistant. However, they have the systems in place to make it so before quantum computing is considered an actual realistic threat. So while the majority of the cryptocurrencies out there aren't necessarily quantum resistant currently, it doesn't mean that they won't be or can't be in the near or not so distant future. What are quantum computers? Quantum physics involves, I read a whole big thing about quantum computing and it was trippy. But basically it's a system whereby, current computers operate on this machine language of binary, of 0 and 1. And it can typically process either a 0 or 1 at one particular point in time. But with quantum computing, it can process the zeros and ones simultaneously, ultimately expanding upon a computer's power by magnitudes of I don't even know what. It's ridiculous. Here's the explanation right here. Traditional computers, like the one you're reading this article on, operate in terms of ones and zeros. If something is true, then the transistor will register a 1. If it's false, the transistor will read 0. There are billions of transistors in each computer. An estimated 13 sectillion have been created since the first one was created in 1947, making it the most manufactured device, period. But due to something called quantum superposition, the transistors in quantum computers can register both 1 and 0 simultaneously, meaning that a quantum transistor is exponentially more powerful than a regular computer. How could quantum computers crack Bitcoin's code? Now, Bitcoin uses something called elliptical curve digital signature algorithm to sign digital signatures and uses a cryptography standard called SHA-256 to hash blocks on the chain. With Bitcoin, a private key picked at random is run through these algorithms to generate a public key. And the Bitcoin protocol uses the hash value of this to create a public Bitcoin address. A quantum computer could reverse this process and derive the private key from a public one, and voila. Bitcoin's claim of inviolability and unhackability is gone, and you have access to any Bitcoin wallet you want. Two major quantum algorithms that threaten the current state of cryptography have already been developed: Grover's and Shor's algorithms. Will quantum computers pose a threat to Bitcoin? This is good. It's estimated that you need a quantum computer with at least 4,000 qubits, the unit that denotes the power of quantum computers, to crack Bitcoin's code. The thing is, the most powerful quantum computers today are decidedly less powerful. In October of 2019, Google announced a quantum computer with 54 qubits. It's the most powerful quantum computer announced in the public domain. But Campbell said that major companies such as Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and IBM are making rapid progress, as are a host of smaller companies. Here's the thing, and a lot of people are like, well, what's the point of quantum computing overall? Sure, it can crack Bitcoin right now. Why are all these companies putting so much money into this? I believe that a big part of it is for artificial intelligence. It's not going to be long before we have our own lawnmower man running the world, because a lot of what we do is going to be digitized. A lot of data throughput is going to be needed. And for that kind of data throughput, especially when every transaction, everything that we do in the world, all of the data that we're exposed to is going to be driven digitally, which the majority of it, all of it already is. But I believe that we're still kind of early in a lot of what I expect to see moving forward. And on top of that, as jobs are being replaced by robots and machines and all of the code and the algorithms associated with that and how those algorithms are going to be managed, a lot of that I believe is going to be coming from artificial intelligence. And I believe that whoever is going to be the first adopter, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, and whoever else, whoever creates the fastest quantum computers, I believe that is where the technology is going to go. And the first to achieve greatness on that front is probably going to rule the world for a while. So how long until quantum computing threat becomes a problem for Bitcoin? It depends who you ask. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google's parent company, Alphabet, was among the first figures to put a deadline on it. He said, in a 5 to 10 year time frame, quantum computing will break encryption as we know it today. Right. So basically the encryption currently being used in the Bitcoin blockchain. Some blockchain leaders are not worried by this timeline. At Web Summit 2019, Hedera Hashgraph founder Dr. Lehman Baird compared the quantum computing threat to the Y2K problem, a date formatting issue that doomsayers thought would break the world's major computer systems on January 1st, 2000. I remember this like it was yesterday. Everybody was freaking out thinking the world was going to end because of the Y2K bug. Said Baird, like Y2K, yes, we had to make some changes to software at Y2K. Was it the end of the world? Actually, no. I mean, it's basically a patch that everybody had to run. Vitalik Buterin, co-founder of Ethereum, is also unfazed. He told Forecast News in October 2019 that for every cryptographic algorithm that quantum computers can break, we know that we have a replacement that quantum computers cannot break. Though these may be less efficient, we have an upgrade path and we know what the upgrade path is, he said. And the thing of it is I believe that a lot of these major blockchains likely do too. So I'm not overly concerned with quantum computing, and I doubt you should be either. What does concern me a little bit is, what the public knows about the headway that a lot of these big companies are making into quantum computing, and what the internal staff and internal groups do. I mean, my question is, if quantum computing became a real thing, something tells me that the government would likely take control of that technology in some way, shape, or form before it was ever public knowledge. So it's, to me, my opinion is that if they're saying 2 years, I don't know. Is it really 2 years, or are they basically trying to clue us in on the fact that, the public might hear about it 5 years from now, but it may actually exist in 2 years. It's just not going to be under our control for public consumption or knowledge of its existence. But that's a little bit of my own conspiracy brain thinking. Are quantum secure blockchains possible? Right now, it's up to the blockchain and cryptography community to build quantum secure blockchains. One major milestone is a competition to create post-quantum cryptographic algorithms run by the National Institute for Standards and Technology, the cryptography world standard setter. NIST's winner would determine the algorithm for a blockchain that's resilient to quantum computers. So that's actually pretty interesting. Then blockchains could fork to a post-quantum secure algorithm, or blockchains could start from the ground up. For instance, David Sham, creator of Digital Cash, has begun work on Praxis, a quantum-resistant blockchain that claims to use quantum-resistant digital signatures to sign transactions for the platform's native currency, the XX coin. Bitcoin, but it's too early to call things until NIST makes its judgment, which Cheng predicts would be as late as 2022. Until then, Bitcoin holders will be living in a state of quantum uncertainty. Oh, pum. So there you go. Oh, nice. Bitcoin's on its way up. A little bit. This is just a 15-minute chart, so don't get too excited. But anyway, overall, guys, I know that quantum computing is a big question on the minds of a lot of people, but I do believe that we're going to be safe. I don't necessarily think that this is something that's going to overtake the blockchain space as a whole. So moving forward, I would rest easy on the idea that Bitcoin is likely going to be safe from quantum computing, because by the time it's actually a threat, I do believe that those potential threats will be patched just like anything else. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say for this video today. I need to get back to work because I really am working on so much stuff. And yeah, I'll see you guys again real soon. Happy treasure hunting. Crow your coins. Have a good night.